Hello, I'm Keith with the Trombone Shop at Schmidt Music, back with another review for you. And today it's a little less of a review and a little bit more of an introduction. So when it comes to manufactured instrument cases, the cases they're including along with their instruments, some of the makers have got very, very classic designs. And frankly, these designs tend to exist for long periods of time. And so when all of a sudden we do have a new design that is introduced, I think it's worthy talking about. And certainly amongst all of our makers in the trombone world, one of the, if not the most storied, is Vincent Bach, right? And I would say along with their instruments are their cases, going back to the classic French style cases of the 60s and 70s. And then of course we've got the big box cases of the 80s, and we've got some of the fabric covered versions. And then of course in the 2000s, they introduced a little bit more of a streamlined wood shell case. But when we just had our most recent batch of Strad trombones come in, we were frankly surprised to see we had a brand new case design to go along with this here. Now, Conn-Selmer, Bach's parent company, has been doing some work with this. For example, with the brand new Conn 88H NV they introduced a few years ago, they had a brand new case design to go with this here, and they've been doing this with some of their horns and some of the trumpets. But of course, I was extremely excited to see that we've got a brand new trombone case design as well. So I wanted to take just a few minutes to kind of walk through the new design here and share what's going on with this with you. All right, so this is the new case here. So with this here, so first off, this is a hard shell, feels to me like a wood shell case or, some type of fiberboard, a hard case. In any case here, with a faux leather exterior. This is one of the things that Bach Conn-Selmer has been using with a lot of their new case designs here. And there's this faux leather here with the quilting here, which I think is really, really stylish. I think it gives it kind of a unique look here. And of course, we have the really nice Bach embroidery here. So they're going for, again, kind of that French style, more contoured case design here. And one of the really nice features right off the bat is that we have built-in backpack straps, right? So again, this is something that they included on the Conn, the 88H NV case they introduced with that new model here, and I really appreciate this design as well here. So, of course, we've got the, the straps sitting right back here, again, in the same kind of nice blue-gray faux leather, which I think is really stylish. We've got this zipper enclosure, so when you don't want to have these straps, they're tucked away here. When you do unzip this, take the straps out, you zip this back up here as well. So again, I really like that. And same thing. So we've got nice handle here. We've got the Subway style handle here, which is really, really great. One of the things I really like about this case, and we're seeing more and more folks doing this, we've got the zipper type enclosure versus the classic latch design. I mean, the Bach cases have used that forever. Of course, we had, the kind of the classic fabric covered cases of the, especially the late 1980s, getting into the 1990s, where they had the zipper enclosure as well. But underneath, of course, we still had the latches. With this, we just had the zipper enclosure. And again, we're seeing more and more case makers moving to this kind of design. Especially as zipper technology, continues to improve. I don't think we're seeing the same issues with zippers like we used to. And frankly, these just do a better job of making sure that the instrument is not getting opened up by accident. I've had instruments when I've been holding them by the latches, and then all of a sudden they go through, the latches come off. You have instruments, you have bells, hand slides falling onto the ground. This helps to avoid all of that here. So a couple of nice touches that I've noticed right away here is that obviously we've got some metal bumpers here to help prevent contact against walls, doorways, etc. We've got rubber feet. This is a really nice touch, and it's a little thing, but with the last Bach design, it looked like probably some type of brass alloy feet that we had here, and on the bottom as well. And it's a little thing, but I actually do really like the rubberized stuff. I noticed this first when I grabbed the case, put it in the ground, and it didn't make the slightly disconcerting clunk of this. And again, kind of a nice soft landing. So a little touch, but I really, really appreciate that. But of course, we want to see what's going on the inside. All right, so this is the inside of the case here. Very, very, standard design here. So like the previous cases, this has the slide compartment that fits inside of the cover here as well, which we'll take just a second. And then, of course, the bell section fits down through here. like the previous model, I really like, we've got some nice thick padding here as well, and very contoured here as well. So it's helping to prevent any type of movement. As we've talked about many times with case designs, when we tend to find damage, it's from the trombone, the bell section in particular, shifting inside the case. This design here seems like it's going to do a really nice job of holding things in place. One of the things I do notice is that especially the padding along here, and of course we've got this really nice storage compartment here, which we'll talk about in a second, but I do notice the padding here is just a little stiff. As we go through, and we do have some nice protection underneath here, but this is just a little stiff. So it is pretty contoured. I don't imagine this causing an issue. I've had once or twice with other, aftermarket case designs. If you have a bell that is really lightweight, if you don't have a lot of give along the flare here, occasionally we've had, especially either subtle, changes to the taper here. We had one instrument where actually the bell was almost taking a little bit of a bow because of that placement of it. I don't think that's going to be a case here, but we do have, it's pretty firm support here. And of course, plenty of room here. We've got plenty enough room, so it's long, and it's really designed so it's going to fit with the classic, the Bach, dual radius longer tuning slide here. Or of course, it's wide enough where it's going to be able to accommodate, their wider hand slides, whether it's the the Hagman, the axial flow, their X-Wrap, etc. One of the things I do notice with this is, with the length of this, especially with them trying to leave some extra room for the mouthpiece pouches here, which again is nice touch, 2 mouthpiece spots here. With this, the tuning slide really on for the F attachment really does have to be pushed in all the way. So, if you're somebody where it's like, okay, I get my F attachment in the right place here, that's where my tuning is, it doesn't give you much of any leeway. So you're going to have to push the tuning slide in every time you're putting an instrument away. You're going to have to pull it out every time that you are bringing it out. So it is something to think about there. But like I said, we've got some couple nice mouthpiece pouches here, fabric covered on the inside. We've got really fairly nice large storage compartment here. That's something that the previous Bach Strad design, it had a little compartment. That compartment in this case was kind of hanging over here. Wasn't that big. You could fit a mouthpiece, a couple of items in here. So you actually have some really nice storage here. So let's take a look at the hand slide compartment. So I guess we've got the nice cutout there with the Bach, a nice stylish little feature there. We have a couple of straps here that hold this sheath in place, and then we're going to open this up, and we've got the hand slide, right? So a couple things. First off, we have spots here for 2 lead pipes. So again, so you've got some nice options, whether you were getting one of the Bach hand slides, one of the artisan hand slides. They've got different lead pipes. If you haven't, if you do some aftermarket work, you've got some lead pipe storage here as well. And then of course, we've got the hand slide fitting in here. Oh, by the way, because again, Bach really likes to do this, we've got a slot here for a cleaning rod here as well. One of the things I noticed with the hand slide compartment here is it is, first off, very, very snug. We've got this piece right here, and this confused me for a second when I first saw this, but what this really does is when you take the hand slide and you put it away, what this does is everything kind of just clips in place. And this really, I was worried about this contacting the tube here. It does not. Everything, it's not touching anything. Really what it's doing is when you close this, it's just making sure that actually we're not getting extra pressure on the middle of the tube here from the piece here, which actually I really appreciate. I think that's a nice little touch. One of the things I found with this, and I think it's probably more about just being a brand new case, the fit of the hand slide through here was pretty darn snug. And when it comes to hand slides, and I get a little nervous occasionally when I have something where it feels like you almost have to clip the hand slide in. Because again, I always feel like if we're putting any tension anywhere on the hand slide, that can be problematic. But with this, where it's clipping in, I'm not really worried about it. We've got this one spot here where it's, it's impacting just the bottom of the tube here. And we've got a little bit of piece here on the crook. But really, I think where I'm feeling it kind of clipping in is up here on the hand slide braces. Not a big deal, right? I'm not too worried about that at all here. So as we go through, like I said, I think, I'm not too worried about this design causing a lot of issues here with that. And like I said, so all the way through, it's got this nice black fabric interior. We've got some nice padding all the way through. So really what they're doing is they're kind of combining the attributes of some of the other newer case designs where we're trying to go for a little bit lighter weight, a little bit more, open design to a certain extent, but still keeping a lot of the Bach styling to it. One note with this case, it is a little bit lighter than the previous iteration. I actually took this in one of the previous cases, stuck it up on the scale. This is about a half a pound lighter. It comes in about 12 and a half pounds, give or take. The old cases came in actually a little over 13. So you do get a little bit of weight reduction with this case design. And like I said, I think there are some really nice features, some nice improvements. And frankly, I think it's really, really stylish. At the end of the day, it's going to take some time to really understand how these cases are going to hold up. With that being said, I think there's some precedence that shows us that these have got some real potential to have longevity. Like I mentioned, they've been using a similar case design for the Con 88 HNV for a while, and I have not received any negative feedback, and frankly, all positive feedback on those cases. So I have a high degree of confidence that we're going to have some really great lifespan with these cases. But more than anything, I'm just, again, really impressed with the foresight, the thoughtfulness that we're seeing from Bach right now, and really looking for opportunities to update their offerings and make sure that they're continuing to work to stay relevant, to be serving, their community, which, like we're trying to do ourselves, I think is really, really helpful. So I hope you enjoy the chance to see a little bit about the new Bach trombone cases here. If you have any feedback, maybe you've already had a chance to put hands on one of these here, maybe you have one of the more classic designs, feel free to leave those in the comments. If you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so, think about subscribing to the channel here so that way we can have some more content coming to you on a regular basis. And of course, you can find the Trombone Shop on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, thanks for watching.